Hello and welcome to this guide on how to gain standing with the Triglavian Collective and EDENCOM. Both of these are classified as pirate factions, but they're pretty useful to have standings with when you're traveling throughout New Eden, as you can come across systems that are controlled by either party, or you will otherwise get engaged by the roaming NPC fleets. You'll also need standings with Triglavian Collective in order to access our Alliance home system, which is a Triglavian system and has multiple Triglavian systems on the route to it. Now, the way we're going to get standings with these two parties is by running a specific combat site in a separate space of New Eden called Pochven. Pochven is completely detached from all other Empire space, so you can only travel there by filaments. And when you come to Pochven, you'll find it pretty similar to Wormhole space in some ways. So there's no local chat, you can only see people on D-scan, but where it differs from Wormhole space is that Pochven actually has gates from system to system within Pochven. And all of these systems are laid out in a triangle, more or less. This also means you have all the dangers of nullsec and wormhole space, so you need to watch out for bubbles and people roaming around while you're there. So let's look a bit at the ship we're going to use to go and do this combat site. So we'll be using a Tristan, which is a Galenta frigate. The Tristan is basically a drone boat, and we're using a very specific fitting design for this purpose. It's meant to be cheap, coming in at around 12 million, and this is including the filaments, which one of them is actually the main part of the cost. And this fit is designed to stay more than 100 kilometers away when you have the sensor boosters running with targeting range scripts. It's cap stable with a cold gas enduring micro warp drive. And this micro warp drive will basically outrun the NPC that's present in the combat site you're doing. And then we'll be using some very cheap Hornet 1s to actually clear out the NPC. So the NPC is not very strong, but we still want to maintain our distance, make sure we don't get locked down, and that we can easily exit the site when we want to. So this will be the fit we will be using. Now I'll just look into the item hanger for the ship, and here you'll find these are saved in the fitting as well. You'll find 3 filaments, and the first one you'll need is the internal 5 Pochven filament. This one is to enter Pochven from HiSec, and from this you will get into a random system within Pochven. Now, when you are done running the site in Pochven, you will need either the Glorification Divana filament, which will bring 1 ship out of Pochven, or you can use the Proximity 5 Extraction filament, which will bring a fleet of 5 people out of Pochven. The same with the internal one, that will bring 5 into Pochven as well. And there's no other filament you can use to enter Pochven, so it's this one. There isn't a version for a single ship. That's basically all when it comes to the fitting. Make sure, if you by chance have skins, use them for the fun of it. But otherwise, I'll get on dock with this fitting. I'll show you how to enter Pochven. Right, so now I've basically just warped to the sun here in Amar, which is a decently suitable location to leave a Pochven at. You can also use around a moon would do. You'll most likely get in trouble if you walk to a planet, because those have customs offices on them. So a moon, the sun, some other object where you can be more than 1,000 kilometers away from anything, basically. So we'll use the sun in Amar for this demonstration. And before we leave, there's a few things we need to do to be able to use our filament. First, we need to decrease our safety setting to partial safety. This will allow us to use the filament. Make sure to switch this back when you get back from Pochven. Secondly, we'll need a separate fleet, which we can make with ourselves. So we'll just click ourselves, form fleet. And now we're in a fleet with just us in it. You can see it with fleet chat in here, and we can just close the fleet window. And that's basically all for our sort of pre-flight check. Now we're ready to use our filament, so we'll use this internal Pochven one. I'll click use filament, and here you'll see it will have 5 payloads to travel into Triglavian space. You can use any sub-capital ship, and you'll get a Capsuleer log timer of 15 minutes, I think. So we'll press activate, and we'll get the jump animation. This will bring us to a random system in Pochven, and what we'll be looking for in these systems is a specific combat site called an incipient drone swarm. Now, the reason why we're looking for this specific site only is because this site allows us to gain standing with both EDENCOM and the Triglavian Collective at once. So it makes sure to only run this site because it's the only one that will ensure that you don't lose standings with the other party. So if you run any other site, you'll most likely lose standings with EDENCOM, and that can become an issue when you're traveling through EDENCOM systems later on in New Eden. So we're in Parchment now, we're looking for a site, and you can see there's none of the sites in the system that are an incipient drone swarm. So these are all orbits, and then there's this torpid sleeper hive, but none of them will work for the ship. So we are looking to take one of the gates, and to do this I'll just look on my D-scan to see if there is a bubble boat on any of the gates within range. So you see we have Otilo and Koma are the gates that are in range. Actually, I'll just swap to the PvP section of my overview here, which means we can warp to any of these. So I'll warp to the Como gate and see if we have better luck in the next system. This is still not an issue. Exploration ship, Cyclone is a cruise, or it's a battle cruiser, isn't it? Yeah. And the rest are simply just corvettes. So nothing to be too worried about. Let's see if any one of them meets us on the gate. Yeah, so here we have the shuttle and the Cyclone. So because the Cyclone is here, I'll just quickly go through the gate. Alright. And now we're in Como. We're still looking for an incipient drone swarm. Until log, there's actually 2 of them in the system. So we should be in pretty good shape, really. The only thing is we have some combat scanner probes on D-scan, which we should look out for. A Hecate, which can be pretty fast, a Tornado, and a Vetmag. So it could be an issue. Let's just use our D-scan a bit here. See if they're in range. The Hecate is, but it's also in 1 AU, so it's not at the first site, which is in 4 AU. So I'll warp to the site at around 50 kilometers. And while we're warping, I'll activate my sensor boosters. And for the sake of, I'll just swap to my drones tab and see, do we have any boosters that could be good for this? I think I'll use an agility booster just for the sake of, we don't really need a booster. This is just for the fun of it. Right, and now we're in the site. We're still watching our D-scan because we have these combat probes, which means somebody will probably warp in on us at some point. I'll just start getting moving so we're not directly, or so we're not that close to the warp in. This will be the warp in, is the green marker here. Now let's see if the NPCs are gonna spawn. I think this can take just a second for it to spawn. So the NPC fleet, as far as I remember, is sort of generated, so its strength is according to what you warp there in to some extent. So because we're in a frigate, it shouldn't be too bad, but I think it can vary a bit, if I recall correctly. Please do, when you're here, remember to check these scans. So here we have the fleet warping in. I'll just use all my drones and just dip a tiny bit closer. So I think my range for drones, or for targeting, is 110 kilometers. We just need to get a tiny bit closer.
To give the command to a drone requires
and
you
then
to
we'll
have
send
an
our
active
drones
target.
away on the target. There we go. And this can take a bit because these are not the fastest drones in the world. But just make sure your ship is moving. Make sure it stays. Well, make sure you're moving in the opposite direction of the NPC. So in this case, we're trying to move in sort of this direction. But I'm also moving a tiny bit around because I don't want to be so far that I can't target the next drone in case the... Yeah, these are drones as well, so in case the next of these drones, if in case I need to target the next one, I want to make sure I can sort of dip into range. Now you see the Hornets are doing their job. They're slowly killing this one, which can take a bit. But again, it shouldn't be too bad. This fit is fully capable of handling these sites, even though it's only, well, it's really only 7 million ISK maybe when you start subtracting the cost of the filament. So I'm just making sure we're sort of moving around. See, now you see the drones are targeting me. We'll just make sure that our drones are on the second site. Now, you don't really have to complete these sites, so I'll just stick to doing this while I'm here, because we have to wait out this red non or Capsuleer log-off timer. So we need to be in parchment for at least 9 more minutes. I might as well do something productive instead of warping around randomly from thing to thing. So I'll just keep burning through these drones. You do need to kill, I think, a few of them just to make sure you get the standings tick. But basically, all we're here for is to kill more or less just 1 drone at least. And that will give us the standing of 0.01 with the Triglavian Collective. And that's all you need, just a slight bit of positive standing. That's more than enough. So, don't have to finish the site, you don't have to kill a ton of these, like, you don't have to kill 10 or something stupid like that, you just need to kill 1. It's more than enough. So, we'll kill some more because we have to wait out the timer, and I mean, basically, this Tristan is meant to get killed. So, if I lose it, not a big problem. But I think I'll just continue doing this, continue watching my D-scan, and then kill a few more drones and speed this video out for you guys till we waited a bit. Well, we waited for a bit more of this timer, so to another 7.5 minutes, more or less. Now you see here we have the second wave for the site. It's a bit bigger of a wave. I'll just clear it some more. We still have quite a bit of timer to wait out. So I'll just kill some more. They actually give you... Oh, well, wait a minute. We'll not kill anymore. So this is the reason why you have to watch out. At some point, somebody else will warp into your site. In this case, it's a caracal from some corporation I don't know of. I have no clue what the intentions of this caracal are, so I'll just pull in the opposite direction. Now, you see, because we're so far away from the warp in, he's not really a threat to us currently. But I'll just pull off, recall my drones, and in case whoever lands on grid with you is so close that you can't recall your drones before leaving, just leave. The drones are cheap. There's no reason to sacrifice your entire ship just to recall them, but because I'm so far ahead, I can recall my drones, take that tiny bit of a luxury, and then I'll look for something to warp to. I think we'll take this customs office. That's sort of in the direction we're going anyways.
Warp drive active.
There we go. I will initiate warp. So you see, for this attempt I only managed to kill 3 drones, but it's still enough. We're fine. You don't need to kill anymore. It's fine to leave the site. No reason to sacrifice your ship, just to stick around. So I'll just warp out, and because this site is contested, I will assume, like, see, we do have a different site, but we also have a lot of people. There we go, quite a few more people on these scans, so I think we'll just not contest any more of the sites. I'll swap to my, I think I'll do my Scouts tab, and then we'll just start bouncing between the various different moons in the system while we wait out the last bit of our timer. So I'll be back when we have sort of 30 seconds left on the timer. In the meantime, I'll simply just warp from one celestial object to the other. So moons are great for this, or planets works as well, or customs offices. Just keep it random, keep warping around, and you shouldn't be able to be caught up even with probes on these scan like we have here. Right, and we're back. So I've been warping around for a bit. I ended up warping to one of these, what does it call it? Disrupted gates, yeah. So this is former gates connecting to other systems that are still in known space. But yeah, I just warped to that gate, put on my Mocha drive, and then started heading in the direction. I think that was sort of a safe solution. And as you can see, I've gotten this standings thing in my notification history. I think standings updates every 15-20 minutes, so this will take a while to show up. You don't have to wait for this before you leave Parchment, but it will say something like rogue drones has decreased, 2 other standings affected, which is what you're looking for. Now the timer is up and we are far enough away from anything, so we're pretty much good to go. Just shut off the micro warp drive, and then we can use either of these two filaments. If you're in a fleet, use the proximity 5 extraction one, take 5 people out of parchment. If you're not in a fleet, you can basically just buy this one, way cheaper. So you see this one is almost, yeah, somewhere between 4.75 million. This one is only 8,000. So I'll just use the cheap filament, click use, it will give us a timer again, only one pilot. This will take us into known space in a system which the Triglavians control. Press activate, and let's see where we end up. Right, here we go. So now we're back in known space. We're in the region of Lone Treg, and we're in a low sec system. So there's no guarantee which level of security your system will be. I think it will either be low sec or high sec. I don't think it can be null sec space. So from this system, basically, you're just looking to make your ways back to some solar system which you like. So for this one, Almar is pretty goddamn far away. Let's see, we could maybe look into if I did a quick and dirty route. What do we need? Oh, I need to go for some. So this will take me some time to get back. You could also just jump clone back. I think for the time being, I'll just dock up in this local NPC station first, and then I'll head back at a later point. Now, on our way to the system, let's just go over my few final remarks for this guide. So the last few things we would want to look at is, one thing, you can look to validate that you've got the statics increase by going to your character sheet, then going into interrupt actions, and then go to your standings log. And then you'll be looking for Triglavian Collective and EDENCOM, and the most important thing is that these actually are in your list of faction standings, because by default they won't be. So if you've never engaged with any of these before, they shouldn't be in your standings list, and when they are, you're good. And then you can see it will say 0.01 as a minimum. The EDENCOM one can say 0.00. That's also just fine as long as this is not negative. But yeah, this one is increased a bit more for me because I've done this a couple of times, as you can see. But 0.01 is plenty. That's all you need basically. So this was a successful run. You might not be successful in your first attempt. Make sure to check D-scan while you're in Parchment. Warp around, don't stand still. It is hostile space. And then basically just best of luck with your trip. If you need any help, don't be afraid to ask your comrades. I'm sure someone has tried this before and can give you some tips and tricks on how to do it successfully. That's it for me for this time. I hope you enjoyed this guide, and if nothing else, see you in Newin.